All right, everybody. Thought I would do another news story because I kind of did dig that one. So let me take a puff here first, and then here we go. All right. So the name of this article is "As Chicago Ends Deadliest Year in Quarter of a Century, Top Cop Promises Action to Address Gun Violence." Okay. As Chicago ends its deadliest year in more than a quarter century, Police Superintendent David Brown on Thursday promised more detectives to solve murders and more officers on the street to engage in positive interactions in neighborhoods. We'll have to ask Joe about all this stuff. We all know this has been a challenging year here in the city of Chicago, Brown said at a news conference to discuss his goals for the new year. Too many families are reeling from the loss of loved ones due to senseless gun violence. Too many residents are dealing with the ripple effect of the trauma due to crime in our community. There have been nearly 820 homicides in Chicago this year, according to data from Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. That's the most since 828 homicides were recorded in 1995. The total for 1994 was 931. As of Tuesday, at least 4,390 people had been shot in Chicago. How? An increase of 8% from last year and 68% more than 2019. Wonder if the had something to do with. Let me just reread that. As of Tuesday, at least 4,390 people had been shot in Chicago, an increased rate of 8% from last year and 68% more than 2019. Brown said he wants to beef up the number of violent crime detectives from 1,100 to 1,300 during the first quarter of 2022. Right now, the average caseload for detectives is 5.5. I'm not sure what that means. 5.5. A number the superintendent wants to bring down to 3.5. Right now, the average caseload for detectives is 5.5. I'm not really sure. I'm going to have to do some research. 5.5, like somebody half died, but they didn't die? I don't know. The department has lost hundreds of officers this past year, and Brown did not say how many of the new detectives would replace those who had left. Oh, I see. Well, we hired 200 new detectives. Wait, but 200 had left over the last year. I forget what we call that, but yeah, okay. Despite the shortages, Brown said his department's clearance rate for homicides was 49.4%. What a fucking shame. Despite the shortages, Brown said his department's clearance rate for homicides was 49.4%. But that figure includes case solved from past years as well as cases that are considered cleared. Even an arrest is not made. 50%. Imagine that. Your child gets murdered. You don't even get to know what happened. Fucking insanity. Brown did not provide a breakdown of how many homicides committed this year have resulted in arrests. Yeah, of course not. Why would we? Why would we tell the truth, right? Why have any accountability? Fuck that. Let's hide that. The superintendent also talked about recruiting more officers, saying the department's goal for 2022 is 14,000 applicants. There will be more officers on the street, not just on patrol cars, but behind desks as well, to interact with all the Chicagoans, Brown promised. We're We want to build on positive interactions between the community and law enforcement. With guns fueling much of the violence in Chicago, Brown said his department took 12,000 guns off the streets this past year and made 5,596 gun arrests. We'll have to ask Joe about the positive interactions between community, because I feel like Joe gets positive interaction because Joe Cool lives there and he's got a camera. Whether or not it's honestly positive interaction, we'll have to ask. All right, it's almost over. We'll continue back with the last chick. With guns fueling much of the violence in Chicago, Brown said the department took 12,000 guns off the streets in past year, made 6,000 arrests. The number of assault weapons seized doubled from the previous year, with 701 recovered, according to Brown. More ghost guns or homemade guns without serial numbers were also recovered. 455, a 71% jump. The 130 recovered in 2020. Well, guys, that's the end of the article. But wow, as of Tuesday, 4,390 people shot in Chicago, an increase of 8% from last year. 68% more than. What's really sad about this whole article is that there was even more gun violence in 1999. Wow. Well, guys, I gotta tell you, I love reading these news articles. Bees and pot leaves. Bees and pot leaves. Bye.